The strengths perspective and strengths-based approaches offer service providers ways of working that focus on strengths, abilities, and potential rather than problems, deficits, and pathologies. Strength perspective is not a model of practice, but rather a collation of principles, ideas, and techniques. There are 7 important principles of the strengths perspective. First, people are recognized as having many strengths and the capacity to continue to learn, grow, and change. Second, the focus of intervention is on the strengths and aspirations of the people we work with. Third, communities and social environments are seen as being full of resources. Fourth, service providers collaborate with the people they work with. Fifth, interventions are based on self-determination. Sixth, there is a commitment to empowerment. And seventh, problems are seen as a result of interactions between individuals, organizations, or structures, rather than deficits within individuals, organizations, or structures. People are recognized as having many strengths and the capacity to continue to learn, grow, and change. Wake suggests that an essential assumption of the strengths perspective is that every person has an inherent power that may be characterized as life force, transformational capacity, life energy, spirituality, regenerative potential, and healing power, which is a potent form of knowledge that can guide personal and social transformation. This power also means that people possess the inherent capacity to learn, grow, and change. Salibis suggests that individuals and groups have vast, often untapped, and frequently unappreciated reservoir of physical, emotional, cognitive, interpersonal, social, and spiritual energies, resources, and competencies. People who come to social workers and youth workers for assistance with some problem are more than that problem. They also have strengths and abilities which have allowed them to survive, if not thrive, in the face of the challenges they meet. As Saliba describes it, people are often doing amazingly well, the best they can at the time, given the difficulties they face and the known resources available to them. People have survived to this point, certainly not without pain, but with ideas, will, hopes, skills, and other people, all of which we need to understand and appreciate in order to help. Change can only happen when you collaborate with clients' aspirations, perceptions, and strengths, and when you firmly believe in them. Focus of intervention is on the strengths and aspiration of the people we work with. Salibis' last point just quoted points to the principle that in strengths-based approaches, the focus is on the strengths and aspirations of the people we work with and their environments. Frequently, service providers have focused on problems, deficits, and pathologies suggest empowers the problem as disempowers the person. The strengths perspective argues that people are motivated to use their capacity to change when the focus is on their strengths. A focus on strengths does not mean that people's concerns and problems are ignored, but they are not the main focus on the intervention. According to Salibe, the people we work with have taken steps, summoned up resources, and coped. We need to know what they have done, how they have done it, what they have learned from doing it, who was involved in doing it, what resources were available in their struggle to surmount their troubles. Gisthard suggests that intervention will work best when there is an orientation to an appreciation of the uniqueness, skills, interests, hopes, and desires of each consumer rather than a categorical litany of deficits. Communities and social environments are seen as being full of resources. When social environments or communities are viewed as being pathological, hostile, and even toxic, potential helping resources are often overlooked and interventions in this context may be avoided. Strengths-based approach sees the social environment as being a lush topography of resources and possibilities, with individuals and institutions who have something to give, something that others may desperately need, such as knowledge, succor, an actual resource, or simply time and place. The social environment provides important resources for everybody, not just client. A wide range of groups and institutions can provide support, including family, friends, work, church, sporting groups, and local businesses. A strengths-based approach encourages service providers to seek out the full range of support available in a local community rather than relying on welfare and specialist support organizations. Taylor discusses the concept of entrapping and enabling social niches. The niche represents the unique place in which one fits into the environment, the workplace, or the community. It is the place within which one feels comfortable, one has made it one's own. A strengths perspective encourages people to discover enabling niches for themselves and recognizes the importance of the creation of a culture that is supportive of the proactive steps taken by individuals. Service providers collaborate with the people they work with. People are usually experts in their own situation, and Salibi argues that for service providers, the role of expert or professional may not provide the best vantage point from which to appreciate client strengths. Thus, strengths-based approaches focus on collaboration and partnership between social workers and clients. Salibi suggests that the approach to working with people is a give and take that begins with the demystification of the professional as expert, an operating sense of humility on the part of the helper, the establishment of an egalitarian transaction, the desire to engage clients on their own terms, and a willingness to disclose and share. Interventions are based on self-determination. If there is collaborative relationship that avoids the expert or client relationship, then it is unlikely that the service provider will claim the expertise to decide whether or not a person is capable of making decisions for themselves, of self-determination. Service providers do not need to judge. A client's expressed aspirations are accepted as sincere. Acceptance and validation replace skepticism about what clients can realistically achieve. When people are seen as being experts of their own situation, then they should be the ones to determine the form, direction, and substance of the intervention. Wick argue that it is impossible for even the best trained professional to judge how another person should best live his or her life. The non-judgmental attitude in social work dictates not only that social workers should not judge, but that social workers cannot judge. Instead, the principle of knowing what is best and doing what is best places the power of decision where it should be, with a person whose life is being lived. There is a commitment to empowerment. Although empowerment is almost a cliché in family and community work, it remains an important concept. Empowerment is consistent with a collaborative approach and client self-determination. Staples defines empowerment as the ongoing capacity of individuals or groups to act on their behalf to achieve a greater measure of control over their lives and destinies. Influence person's capacity to act on his or her own behalf. It is important to recognize that empowerment can have personal, interpersonal, and structural dimensions. Sullivan and Rapp suggest that empowerment is analogous to conscientization and animation, which imply a redistribution or recapturing of power, both personal and social. According to Salibi, consciousness raising, which also contributes to empowerment, means that consumers begin to develop a less contaminated and constricted view of their situation and identity. and they take on a firmer appreciation of how their lives have been shackled by institutions, agencies, and ideologies. In other words, consumers are assisted in coming to a more authentic sense of who they are, what they can do, and what they want to do. Problems are seen as a result of interactions between individuals, organizations, or structures, rather than deficits within individuals, organizations, or structures. This is a principle that is not as frequently identified in the literature, but is a useful distinction. In models of family and community work which focus on deficits and pathologies, the problem lies within the person. The person is the problem. According to Cohen, these approaches tend to focus on individualistic rather than social environmental explanation of human problems. From a strengths perspective, problems are frequently the result of interactions between people, organizations, and structures. By focusing on how the interactions contribute to the situation, as well as concentrating on people's strengths, it is possible to avoid blaming the victim. Strengths-based approaches are not magic bullets which have all the answers, but they have transformed the way many practitioners and services operate. I found that more critical theories and approaches can help me understand situations, but when it comes to actually working with individuals, families, and communities, the strengths perspective helps me to discover ways forward and to help other possibilities emerge. It takes discipline, reflection, and practice, but it's worth the effort.